afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Sports Wave Network and Sports Corner with the Conn Man. I am your host, the Conn Man, and with me this afternoon, waiting on my guest, and he goes by the name of Wilson Pilati. What's going on, my brother?
What's going on, Mike? How you doing? Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well, my brother. You know what?
I'm on my commute home from work, so bear with me.
All right, no problem, brother. You know how we handle it. First of all, I want to thank you for coming on my show. And you know what? I really, truly love to highlight people from the neighborhood who are doing well. And you certainly fit that category. And I'm glad to have you come on the show. What I would like for you to do, Wilson, if you don't mind, is to talk about your journey and about your grind and what got you started in the world of basketball.
Thanks for having me, Mike, man. I'm currently stuck behind a student driver, so I'm on my ride home. But kind of broke up. So you say you just walk me through my journey on my grind, you said?
Yes.
Man, where do I start? So I'll say basically I went to Bedford High, like, everyone knows, had a great time there in high school. We won a lot, learned a lot. Didn't finish the job, but that really kind of like lit the fire for me. Because in high school, I was just like a role player. You know what I mean? Played with Brian and Ryan, and so I was really like a role guy. I was just like, average high school player. But I say it started after high school when Mr. Rodriguez actually brought me to Dean, brought me for a visit. It was JUCO at the time, and he told me, he said, "I think you're a scholarship player." So that kind of really like lit the fire under me, and then at JUCO, that's where I really got to like start grinding for real. Like, all right, that was my next goal: get a scholarship. You know what I mean, and go from there. So that's when I started really getting in the gym, working on my individual game, working on my individual goals, more for myself. You know what I mean? In high school, I was like, I just wanted to win. So in JUCO, that's when it kind of got personal. Like, I had to separate myself from everyone else. So, started lifting more, getting in the gym, taking more shots, working on my games, just putting more tools in my bag. And then from there, had a few looks. I ended up going to Bloomfield College in New Jersey, small Division II. It was some of the best years of my life, to be honest, man. It was. You still with me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
So I ended up going to Bloomfield, and then we had a great team, man. We had a lot of tough players, man. New Jersey got a lot of hoopers. So, from there, my grind kind of got turned up a notch because I'm like, man, these like in New Jersey, like the average guy in New Jersey would probably kill Massachusetts for real. So I'm playing with guys from New Jersey, New York. We had a real competitive team, man. Very, a good group of guys. And then, just grinding there. Had a great. Finished out my college career there, man. I got to coach. Actually, I had to finish up some courses, so I ended up coaching my last year after I finished playing basketball. I had a year to finish up some classes, so my coach let me get on the staff. That's the year that we ended up going to the Elite Eight. But then from there, it was just off to the races. I remember just being back home, working, subbing. I was working at Sid Wainer. And then I had got a call from my agent at the time, Jordan Olivio, to go play in DR. And I remember I left work right then and there. He called me like, "Yo, I got a job. You got to be ready to leave next week. This amount of money." I just left work because that's what I've been working. That was what I was grinding for. You know what I mean? I was working, but I was still in the gym 2 to 3 times a day because that was my dream. So from there, man, I just ended up all over the world. So that's where really my grind got started and took off.
Now, before we go any further, Wilson, what was it like playing in the States and going overseas and taking that step to go overseas? What was it like?
Oh man, it was a shock for me because I think my first time flying on a plane was in high school when we went to Florida. So that was like my first time really flying, and then so that's all I really knew. But then 2012, that's when I did it. It was like, man, I landed. I remember I landed. And I was like, what the hell is this? Like, I was just shocked because you know what I mean. I'm Dominican, but that was my first time actually going to the Dominican Republic, and I have brothers over there. At the time, I had two brothers over there, so I actually got to meet them for the first time as well. So luckily for that, my brother ended up picking me up at the airport. I met him for the first time as well as leaving the country, going to another country for the first time. So it was a lot of emotions that first time, but it was definitely a culture shock for sure.
What was it like once you got to over there, and what was it like the competition? What was because I want the viewers to get a backyard a view of what it was like to go play overseas for someone who's in America who don't really know. What was it like to go play overseas and get paid for it?
Man, it was amazing. It was the best times of my life, man. I was getting paid to shoot jumpers and practice once or twice a day and play games. You know what I mean? Like, just can't ask for nothing better than that. From a kid from New Bedford. So it's amazing. You get a lot of downtime. You get to really know who you are as a person. You get to really I think for me, what I appreciated the most was I had so much alone time. I was by myself, but I really got to focus on the things that I wanted to do and I enjoyed and I liked. So and I love to go sightseeing too. So I was never just in the room. A lot of guys, teammates I play with, would just stay in the room, play video games. I would always be out, man. I was always on a tourist, learning the country, and just enjoying it, eating all the food and going sightseeing and all that. So, but it's definitely a grind because the competition is, I was fortunate to play with or against a lot of former NBA guys or Division I guys. So the competition is real, mostly everywhere you go. And then even the Nationals take it serious because they don't make as much money playing. So that's really their grind. So they're hungry. Majority of the places I went, the Nationals were good. They took it serious, and it was good competition. Very good
Now,
competition.
now, Wilson, I want you to keep it a buck. I know you're having a hard time hearing me. I want you to keep it a buck. When did you think I belonged?
Say that again.
I said, when did you think that you belonged?
Where did I think I belonged?
When? When did you think you belonged? When you was out there playing and
Oh,
grinding?
when?
Uh,
Yeah. So my first gig, that was really eye opening to me because I had to switch up my game even more. I'm such a selfless player. I like to move the ball and get my rhythm first, but I had to learn that quick that it's not about that. I had to do my job. I had to really show them that they flew me there for a reason. You know what I mean? So I had to be more selfish and really really show them that I was the real deal. But I would say it wasn't about probably my my first year I went to Colombia. I had been to Uruguay before that, DR, but Colombia, that's when I had I was getting my feet in already. You know what I mean? I had my I had some experience already, so now I knew what teams and stuff I was looking for and what was expected out of me. So my first year in Columbia, that's when I really knew, like, yeah, like I could stick with anyone here. You know what I mean? Like they gotta guard me. Like I'm shooting lights out.
I like it.
That's when it really hit me because I'm like, you know what I mean? Everything was getting better as I was going too. You know what I mean? Like my contracts were getting better. Everything was just clicking. You know what I mean? Thank God, like I always had the right people in my corner with me, and I kind of blocked out the noise, so it made things easier.
Now, how many teams did you play for? How long did you play overseas?
I did 8 years. I played for, man, over 12 teams probably. I went to the same country a few times. I went to Colombia 3 times, Portugal twice, Dominican a bunch of times, Uruguay once. But I played probably for like 8 or 10 teams, man. It was for 8 years. I took a year off in 2016. I had just won a championship in Colombia, so I was being greedy. I wanted a bigger contract, but I stood home a little bit longer, and then ended up teaching for a little bit, but I ended up going back. So overall, it was like eight years.
Okay, now after you had finished your great playing overseas, what did you do then?
So I like it's funny because I like retired like 2 times. You know what I mean? I thought I was done. Then I came home,
Uh-huh.
started working, and then they were still calling me. So that was the toughest thing to like ignore those calls and to not go back and play. So I remember I retired. I was like, man, I'm done. I'm gonna just lock in and start my life after basketball. But then I ended up going back. So I think my last time playing was like 2021, 22. It was in Portugal. Um, my previous coach I played for in Portugal, he had called me like, man, come back. We need you. We're in the Pro Liga, which is the second league over there. So I was like, I ended up going. But once I officially retired, I was already in the union and for construction. I had my company had actually let me leave that year. I was the second year of my apprenticeship. They had let me leave to go to Portugal. That's where I finished off my playing career. So I was already in the motion of getting my life started and stuff. So now I'm in the union doing HVAC and the construction in Boston. So that was kind of just the end of that was like how I kind of ended things.
Now, Wilson, can you let the viewers know what exactly the differences are playing in the States as opposed to playing overseas? Maybe the rules, or just give the viewers a little idea of the differences playing overseas as opposed to playing in the States.
Man, in the States, it's just, it depends what level you're playing. Like, guys are all tough, you know what I mean? They're all smart. They all work out. They got top of the line, workouts. They all went to college, so it's tough. Overseas is more like there's only two to four Americans on the team, so you kind of get to shine more, and you get the ball more. You get more touches and all that compared to being in the States where everybody kind of wants to go and everybody wants to shine and get their bucket. So overseas is just more like it's a job. Like you have to. I always was told like you gotta average 20 to keep your job. If not, you're gonna get sent home. Like, and then that's it. You're gonna have to go back to the drawing board. So I always kept that in mind. Like, man, I have a job. I have a job every night. Like I gotta score 20 or more, or I could go home. And obviously, you don't want to go home. So you gotta make sure you get to your spots, hit your shots, and do what they brought you over there to do. But it's more like an individual game, I'd say. Obviously, it's team ball, and sometimes you may land on a team where you don't have to do as much because you have a good team. You know what I mean? Like, not all the load isn't all on me. So you get to play team ball more and pass the ball, and you trust your guys more. Other times you're with guys who aren't as good. So it's my job to score, put that thing up. You know what I mean? Score 40, whatever I had to do to win. So it all depends where you're at, what league you're in, and what's your situation.
Now, Wilson, what were the pros and the cons of playing overseas?
Man, the pros and the cons. The pros is you're doing what you love. Um, you're playing you're traveling the world for free. You know what I mean? You don't have to. Only time you spend the money is if you want to, buy something extra that the team doesn't provide or whatever. So you're doing what you love. You're traveling the world. Um, what I took for granted now that I'm realizing is like, yeah, I work now. I'm working 8 hours, 10 hours, 12-hour days. I'm making good money, but over there, you're working 1 to 2 hours a day. You know what I mean? Maybe 3, and then you have the rest of the day to chill, downtime, do whatever you want, relax, talk to your family. But the cons are you don't get to see your family all the time. You're missing birthdays, weddings, baby showers. You know what I mean? Sometimes you miss certain foods you can't have all the time, and maybe if you have your loved ones, family, friends, those are the cons, But that's all part of the sacrifice and the grind.
Now, Wilson, also, can you let the viewers know, because we're going to have some young people who are tuning in as well.
Yeah,
What advice would you give to some young person who might be deciding to go overseas? What advice would you give them?
man. Be patient. Be patient. Do your research. Don't jump on the first deal you may have, because a lot of guys, believe it or not, like it goes quick. You know what I mean? Like the years go quick. You have a short time to play basketball. I say so. So you want to make it count. But a lot of guys are so desperate and so thirsty to go overseas, man. They going for nothing. You know what I mean? They paying their way to go there, and at the end of the day, it's not. That's not what it is. So just be patient. Talk to the right people. Block out the noise. Pray. And just enjoy it. Enjoy it, because one day it will end, and that's when you're gonna go back and it's like, man, I wish I would have did this or that or whatever. But
Right.
just can't cheat the grind, man, and and you're gonna land where you're supposed to land. You know what I mean? God has a story and His plan for everybody, so you just gotta stay the course.
Now, Will, what are your fondest memories of playing overseas?
Man, I'd have to say the relationships I built. Besides, like, certain countries have certain different things that I always remember, and you know what I mean. But I still talk to guys from the first team I was on. You know what I mean? Like they're literally my brothers. So I made a lot of strong relationships. A lot of certain countries I fell in love with, and I won 2 championships overseas. So that also is always very close to my heart, because the plan is to win, and I'm a winner. I'd rather win more than anything. I'd rather win more than score 50. So the fact I got to do that twice in another country is it means everything to me. So
And now, Will, before we go any further, we're going to talk about your upbringing, playing at Monty Park and all that. We're going to get into that. But prior to that, I want to ask you, what would you say to someone who, again, is watching, any advice on maybe trying to improve their game? What should they need to work on playing overseas as opposed to playing in the States?
I'd say don't worry about the foul calls, man. Overseas you're gonna get hacked. they're gonna look at you like you got three heads because they not giving you no calls, man. Once they know you're an American, they're gonna hack you even more. Certain calls are crazy, but just learn how to play through that, and you gotta be a pro. You gotta really by this point you gotta really know your game. You gotta know your values, your strong points, your weaknesses, and you know what I mean. Like myself, I was never a guy to put the ball on the deck. You know what I mean. I was a shooter, slasher, defender. So you gotta really know your strengths and know how to get to that, because overseas will test you, and at the end of the day, it's a job. You gotta perform. So you gotta really just lock in and be a pro on all levels. You know what I mean? Out on and off the court.
Will, if is there anything that maybe that you want to convey to the viewers that maybe I didn't ask, or anything you want to let the viewers know about you personally, or anything you want the viewers to know? Because there are going to be a lot of people be tuning in to my show, so I want the viewers to get to know a little bit about you. I'm here to give you your flowers and let you know what that the people know how much I'm so damn proud of you and what you've accomplished, coming from New Bedford, where we are. You know what I mean? It's a great thing that you did, and that's why I want to give you your flowers and give you some damn recognition. And so, is there anything else you want me to ask you, or anything else that maybe I didn't ask you that you might want
I
to
mean,
convey
nah,
to the viewers?
I'm pretty, you know, I'm a pretty private guy. Like whoever knows me, they know me. Like I don't really like to brag about things I've done or I do, because I think at the end of the day, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But recently, last year, I went down. My whole career, I had an agent like once or twice, but I was never locked in with like an agent my whole career. For the most part, I was learning the business as I was playing and doing my own stuff and negotiating and stuff like that. So I always had like basically I was my own agent a lot of the times. You know what I mean? So I always knew like someday I wanted to do that. I was like, man, I want to be able to help the up and coming or guys that have the talent.
I don't know if he froze yet or not, but I'm gonna say something. Can you hear me? Oh, well, you know what, Will? I'm gonna let folks know a little bit what I know. When Wilson comes in town, you never know. He's so damn quiet, humble, like anybody that I've ever met here in New Bedford. Because you know damn well in New Bedford, people will talk about how good they are. And I recall that every time I saw you, whether it be at the BBA or wherever, you've always been humble, respectful, and that's kind of a change from people out here in New Bedford. But give me your reflections back on the day when you were playing before high school. What are your reflections? Who did you look up to? Who were your idols? Let the folks know a little bit about that. Oh, I think he might have froze on us. But anyway, like I was gonna say, Wilson was multi-talented. You never really heard him talk smack. He let his playing do the talking for himself. And it's great to have individuals who have come from the city who are doing so many great things. And he's definitely one of them. And I'm glad that he came on the show because I'm been given the I guess the platform to have guests on who are doing great things and are good
Mike,
role
anything?
models.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Can you hear me? Oh, I think we lost him. But anyway, like I said, Wilson, and folks, what I did was I wrote a couple of articles. I wrote about the top 100 best basketball players coming out the South Coast, and I omitted him because I didn't remember because he's so damn quiet, and his game didn't. Once I knew who it was, because I'm old as dirt and I got dementia
My
sometimes.
bad, Mike. I
But
think I
I didn't.
lost you for a little bit.
Oh, okay, cool. But I was talking about how humble you are. Whenever you come into town, you're humble, you're very respectful, and you're just you. Whereas a lot of people, they want to brag about their games and this and that. But the way you approach it, you know what I'm talking about. The way you approach the game, the way you approach people around here, you didn't have to brag. You didn't have to talk about your game. But anyway, now that I got you, again, I was just telling folks, how proud I am of you. And I want you to reflect back before at New Bedford High School, where you said you was a role player. And probably understandably so, because you had Brian and Ryan and all them guys. But take it back. Let's go back to the beginning, where you found your love for the game, where you found out who were your idols. Who did you look up to when you were growing up?
Oh man, so it's gonna have to be probably in Boys and Girls Club. I went there in the 5th grade because I was just lucky enough. My mother was like, "Hey, we're gonna enroll you in the Boys and Girls Club." And Dave, shout out to Dave. He's the one that like pulled me aside. It was like, "You want to play in the Boys Club League?" I'm like, "Sure." That's when I connected with Rob Mendes, and that's kind of where it started, man. That for everyone that knows, that gym is special. So that's kind of where the love started, man. If you lost the game, you was crying, and it was just like that's just what it was. There wasn't nothing wrong with it. That's how the game meant to us. And then obviously Monty's Park, the shootouts and Burgos, all that, man. That's just how I started, and I was just like you said, man. I don't like to talk about myself or brag. I just like to perform and let my actions and my game talk for myself. So just that's just how I roll.
Yes, you do. Now, this show is seen all over the country. So you mentioned Robbie Mendes. You mentioned Dave Concesio. You mentioned the Boys Club. Can you let the viewers know what it was like playing in the Boys Club League? Because I don't think people really realize if you can play in the Boys Club League, if you can referee in the Boys Club League, you know what's going on. Let the viewers know what it's like. Because
Hey,
I don't think they know.
that's funny you said that because I played there obviously, and it's you feel like they're on your back, like you do. It's crazy, and it went full circle. I actually ended up reffing it a little bit too, doing the strokes and all. And I was like, man, this ain't for me. Like I'm not doing this. I'm not reffing it no more in that gym. Like you got the parents on your back hollering and all that. It's crazy, man. It's like that gym is special, man. That place is special. So if you could play there, man, I think you built for anywhere in the world, man.
That is so correct. Now, I want because the show was seen in New Bedford as well as all over the country. Can you let the viewers know, like again, some of your idols that you when you were growing up, who you watched, and who were your best players you played with and best players you played against?
My idols, I always just, my goal was to always play at the highest level that I could.
Okay.
It wasn't like, oh, I want to make it to the NBA. It was just like, I just said, I want to play at the highest level that I can make it to. So, at that point, the only few guys that you really knew in the city that did it were like Marcus Houtman, Marcus Wells. So
Right.
those guys, I would reach out to and look up to. Obviously, Dwayne Pena. Shout out to those guys, man. They kind of set the tone, and the plan was always, to be better. Play longer, or play. That's just or for me it was. I mean, I just wanted to play at the highest level that I could, that Wilson Pilarti could play at. So, I mean, that was always the goal.
Now, Will, some players are gifted, some are not. Some have to work a lot harder. What did you feel prior to you going to New Bedford High School? Because New Bedford High School, I think at that time probably had 3,500 students. So what do you think that you needed to work on in order for you to feel confident that you could, first of all, make the damn team and then be able to contribute?
I think at that time my game was like I said, just being a role player, and I was pretty good at it. Um, like I said, I played with Brian, Ryan, Antoine, Jerome, and we all just made it easier for each other because we all competed and everybody just wanted to get better. So when I tell you our practices were like harder than the games because our bench players were, our bench, and when I was my junior year in the bench, like we were bought in, you know what I mean? We all bought in. We all wanted to win. So we weren't selfish. Nobody was just looking for them. Like we just all wanted to win. So at that time I was just like I was a slasher. I knew I would get my junior year, you know what I mean? Coming off the bench, great team. I was like, oh, I'm going to get like 3 to 4 shots. I got to just make them, So my volume, I had to do that. Shots I did get, I had to make them, you know what I mean? So that ended up helping me down the line too, So it's just crazy how everything works out. God's plan is unbeatable. So that's just what it was. But I just my bread and butter I had to say was my mid range or my corner three.
How much did you work on that?
Every day. I mean, all the time I was in the gym. I was always working on my strengths and working on my things I had to improve too.
What do you think that well, I'm gonna go a little bit fast forward. It was a little bit I guess ahead of your time. What do you think about the AAU programs that are around right now?
AAU now, I was reffing AAU for a while, but I had to leave that because it's too watered down now. You got a lot of it's watered down. It's not, you got dads that don't even know nothing about basketball, buying teams, putting teams together just so their kid could play, and
True.
it's crazy now, man. On the flip side, a lot of guys are getting exposure from it though, and for the teams that are actually meant to be there, so it's kind of it's kind of a sweet and sour thing. So
Okay, well,
but
I'm
it's
asking
not
one
it's not
question.
like I feel like it's not like when we played. There was only 1 or 2 teams locally. Like
Right,
you had to be good to be on the team. Like you had
right.
to be elite and valid. It's not like, oh, I want to play AAU, so dad buy a team and put a team together. You know what I
There
mean?
you go. There you go.
Get
There you
some
go.
uniforms, get some kids, and you see teams getting blown out by 50. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like,
True. That's true.
it's
That's definitely
crazy.
true. And then AAU, I think sometimes, you were a ref, sometimes you got these teams playing damn near 10 games a weekend. You know what I mean? And then as well as I know, you play better when you practice. When AAU, you don't have much time to practice because you're always playing damn games. And again, and I'm gonna come off out of my neck a little bit, but you got coaches who coach, but they don't teach.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference. And I find that AAU, you have a lot, like you said, you pay the money, buy the uniforms, and that makes you feel that you're legit. When in
Yeah.
fact, the kids really, especially at that young age,
They got
they
no
need to get
business there.
disciplined.
Yeah, some kids got no business. That's why when I was ref, I'd be like, man, team's running it up. I said, let them run it up. Maybe they'll realize this ain't for them. You know what I mean? Or it'll light the fire under them and make them want to train harder and learn the game more. So.
And now that since you were not too far gone from the game like me, I'm old as dirt. But what do you think about the NIL the way it is right now?
I like it, man. It's letting guys feed their families and provide more than having to make that next jump. You know what I mean? Some guys don't end up making that next jump, but it gives them time to make some money in college and stuff to to feed their families and maybe get things started, whatever it may be.
Now let me ask you another question. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Would you kind of like a hypothetical question? If you had a choice, maybe say you had 4 schools. School number 1 was going to pay you the most, but school number 4 may benefit you as far as playing wise. what would you choose?
I think that's it
Tough
happens a
question, I
lot.
know.
It happens a lot, because me personally, I'd go where it was going to benefit me long run, longevity. You know what I mean? If I was going to play more, then I'd turn that into getting a good contract and stuff like that. So instead of going to school with the most money, a bad situation for me. You know what I mean? Because then after that, you may have nothing. You just have that some change, that money you made then, and then you got nothing after that.
Right.
Compared to going to a good school, getting the opportunities that are going to come because you went there and got to play is going to end up being greater than the money up at that other school. But you see that a lot, guys wanting to go D1, D1, D1. You know what I mean? So they'll choose to go to a D1 school just to say they went D1 instead of going to a great Division 2 program, Division 3 program, and actually playing. You know what I mean? Actually playing, and they end up going D1, not playing, sitting the bench, miserable. Now they're like, oh, what am I? Not in love with it no more. So instead of going to Division 2 school, playing, having a great career, winning, and then actually having a collegiate career.
Another thing I want to ask you, because with your experience playing overseas, playing in the States, and just recently playing, recently retiring, if you could, what changes would you make in the landscape of basketball today, as far as the youth, collegiate, and professionally overseas?
So I'd make these coaches or trainers like have to be valid. You know what I mean? Instead of sending your kids off to them. You know what I mean? Like there's so many coaches and trainers now. They are just playing and training kids like with no knowledge of it, not knowing the steps to send them to. You know what I mean? Because I feel like it's very important the steps you take in your playing career or any kid's playing career. You know what I mean? You could, if you're there to better them, like you have to really have the best interest for them at heart, not just thinking you was the greatest player, training them and doing this and that. So I would change that. Like I don't know how I would do it, but I would make it so that like if you call yourself a trainer or a coach, you had to like pass certain tests or qualifications, or if not, you was cut off. Boom, get out of here. Like beat it.
I can
But
understand that. Also, the fact is, a lot of times, because you repped a little bit, and you probably have witnessed this, is that a lot of coaches happen to be dads, and the only reason why they're doing that because probably the kid wasn't good enough to make a regular AU team. But if I bought the damn team, my kid's gonna play,
yeah,
and then as soon as my kid's done, I'm out.
yep. Um, yeah, man. I think it is hard to coach a kid. You know what I mean? I think it's hard to coach a kid because you have to be real with them. Say if your kid's not good, you just gotta be real with them and be like, listen, maybe we might want to look at something else or whatever. You know what I mean? You know as a dad if your kid has it or not. You know what I mean? You could give him all the training in the world, but if he's just not a hooper, you just gotta be real with him. Like, and I mean, I'm assuming that's tough. You know what I mean? I have daughters and they're young, but like, it's hard to separate that being a coach and a dad, and you know, at the end of the day, just being realist and transparent and letting them know.
Now, with all your experience playing at all levels, do you find that sometimes parents are living through their kids?
Oh, all the time. You see it all the time.
I know the answer. I'm just asking you. I
Yeah,
already
yeah.
know the
You
answer.
see it. You see it all the time, man. Then the kid end up getting burnt out and wanting nothing to do with it. So that's what I mean. Like if I had a son, I would I'll let him come to me and be like, Dad, I want to play basketball, like or come show me how to do this and that. You know what I mean? Instead of drilling him like, oh, it's practice time. You got to go put up jumpers, blah blah blah. Like, you know what I mean? As a hooper myself, I would hope that my kid, even my daughter, I hope she comes to me and tells, "Oh, I want to play basketball," but I'm not gonna drill it and beat it into her. So if she wants to hoop, I'm gonna be like, "All right, this is what I've been waiting for. I'm gonna show you how to do it. The fundamentals and bring it to the trainers that I know are legit, and I'll have the blueprint for her already." But yeah, you see that a lot. Parents living through their kids, and it's disgusting. I think it's embarrassing.
Now, okay, you played professionally for 8 years, and I want your take on load management. What do you think about that? Since I got you here, I'm gonna hit you. What do you think about the NBA and these guys making 50 million a year, and you want to take your kids out, you're paying who knows how much per child to go see a game, to go watch player X, and player X decides,
Yeah,
I don't feel like playing. What's your take on that?
yeah, it's crazy to me because tickets aren't cheap, and
No.
depending on your situation, even if you're in the nosebleeds, man, those tickets might be everything for that family. So and they're going to watch one or two players more or less. You know what I mean? So it sucks when the player's not injured or nothing. He's sitting out. You know what I mean? Like that's your job. Like you got the best trainers and you got the best doctors and stuff. So unless you're physically hurt and you can't play and you have to sit out. But other than that, man, I think it's kind of a joke because there's no excuses. You got the best everything in the world. Like you got the best treatment, recovery, all that. So you gotta play, man. That's just the difference between now and back in the day. I feel like.
And there's a difference between being hurt and being injured, as you know.
Yeah.
Um, we only got a few minutes, and I'm so honored to have you on the show because you're a dynamite brother, man. You've always been, again, humble, and I'm glad to have you on my show to give you your flowers and let people know about Wilson Pilati. But is there anyone before we go? Is there people you want? Because some we cannot do it alone. So is there any people you want to thank? Any people you want to give shout outs to? The floor is yours, my brother.
Yeah, obviously, thank you for having me on here, man. I appreciate you, and you deserve your flowers as well. So, but other than that, man, I like my circle has been small. I've been around the same people usually my whole life. So, but Nick Career, man, Nick Career is a great guy, man. He always worked me out, looked out for me any way he could. John Silver, um, Eddie Rodriguez, like I said, he's the one that took me on that visit and kind of really told me, oh, you know. So and he set the fundamentals for me. Obviously my boys, everyone, Brian, Ryan, Tweezy, all these guys, man. They just been great friends and role models, and I think that's just what you need in life, man. You need a strong circle, a little village, and obviously my mother, my stepfather, my everything, So my girlfriend now, my family, those are all people I love and I appreciate, and I thank them all for everything.
It's Wilson. Before we go, is there anything else you want to add to get? Oh, well, if I
Rob
know
Mendes
you
too,
got your
man. Rob
small
Mendes,
circle.
he was a big key in my fundamentals and boys club days, man. Dave,
Who?
man, all these guys. Rob
Oh yeah.
Mendes, Dave,
Oh
all
yes, yes, yes,
man. There's a
yes.
lot of names, man. I
Yeah,
don't
Rob's
want
been on my show, and everybody knows Robbie Mendes. He's been a role model for like damn near 80 years. God damn it. But anyway, you know, is there anybody? Because I know you humble, you got your little small circle, and you want to keep it that way. So I don't want to, to jeopardize that in any way. But if people watch this and they want to get in touch with you, how could they get in touch with you, or where maybe can they find? Even though you got your small circle, but I get a feeling that people, because you just recently played, so you can relate more to them than maybe someone like myself, who I was playing with peach baskets back in the day. So maybe someone like yourself can relate. You're more relatable than someone my age. If there's someone that may, hey, you know what? I like that. I want to talk to him. How could they get in touch with you?
Man, it's 2025, man. Social media, I'm active. Like I got my I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and stuff. But I got my agency now on my sports agency. So if there's any players out there that are interested and need advice or just help, they could shoot me a message. And I don't turn anyone down, man. I'm not better than anyone. So
Hold on, hold up, right now, right quick. You got your sports agency. Talk. I know about it. I wanted you to bring it up. Talk about your sports agency. What do you do? Let the people know.
yeah. So during my playing career, I had like one or two agents, but I was never really locked in with an agent my whole career. I was always my own agent. God was my agent, but I learned the business myself and negotiated my contracts and this and that. So I always had like a thing for that. I was like, man, I think after I'm done playing, I want to be an agent. So um, that's what the last year I actually went down to Miami and I passed the test. So now I'm licensed. I'm FIBA licensed. But I've been helping guys get overseas for years, man. I've been doing it. You know what I mean? I'm down to help anybody any way I can. I think that's what the world needs more of. So that's my passion now. I'm trying to really get that thing rolling. So I'm trying to, I got my agency going. I help guys get wherever I can. You know what I mean? Use all my resources and contacts to help guys out. And even if I could just be one step in their journey, in their career, in their dream, then I'm happy. That makes me feel good.
And what's good about it is that this show is seen again all around the country. So I'm sure you're going to be hit upon to maybe inspire or help others who may want to go. Maybe they played college and maybe they didn't get the opportunity that you might be able to help them out with. Maybe it might be better for them to go overseas. Sometimes, as you know, players don't play that good in their collegiate career and do very well playing overseas. You know what I mean? So you could be I guess, kind of the go between of someone who might be on that verge and maybe they're not getting where they want to get, and maybe you could, assist them in maybe going overseas. So again, how would they be able to get in touch with you as far as your agency is concerned?
So I'm on my agency. I'm on Instagram. It's WP Sports Agency. They could just send me a message or whatever. You know what I mean? Comment anything, and I'll get back to you guys for sure.
Well, Will, they're gonna hit you up now after watching this because I'm gonna put it on blast, as you know. But again, I want to thank you for coming on my show, taking time out of your busy schedule and your busy day to come chat with the Conn Man. I do appreciate it. I love you, my brother. I'm so proud of you, and thank you for coming on my show. You have an open platform. Anytime you want to come on, hit your boy up, and we can do the damn thing. Thank you so much for coming on my show.
Much love, my man. Appreciate you. Thanks again for having me, and God bless.
You too as well. Thank you.
Later.
Folks, thank you so much. Folks, that was my man, Wilson Pilati. He is, again, someone who I'm so damn proud of because of what he's accomplished. And, we come from an area where there's a lot of negativity, and I like to try to promote the positivity as well with sports entertainment. And because of my producer, Key Williams, and, the network allow me to give you guys a little taste of the area, as well as, I get my guests from all over the country as well. We have about a few minutes, but what I want to talk about is, I have some really good guests coming up. On March 21st, I have a guy by the name, matter of fact, his name is Joe Disparra. Now, you're going to be like, who is that? Joe Disparra is nationally renowned interpreter for basketball officials. And I want to bring him on to dispel some rumors about refereeing and calls and, things of that nature, the actual mechanics of officiating. And I think that's going to be so beneficial to the coaches, dads, coaches who scream on referees and really don't know the game, who don't read a case book, who don't know a damn thing. And I think that most of the coaches should go to referee schools or the referee classes so they can learn and to teach their players about the rules and regulations to work in their benefit. Because a lot of coaches will, again, yell, scream, holler, and do all that damn thing without knowing the rules. I'm gonna give you one thing just to let you know, just a little bit from my own experience. You see a lot of referees. There's the boss. Without her, I couldn't do anything. But you see a lot of players will reach a lot, and the coaches will get mad if they're called on. Rule number one: if you reach or you reach from below moving up, as opposed to hands coming down, if you teach your players how to do that, the less likely you're going to get called. But when you do all this, you're going to get called. Now I got my producer, the one and only Key Williams. Key, what's going on, boss?
Nothing much, Con. I got something to pick your brain about. I need some help.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'm in the tournament right now with my guys. Before the
Okay,
playoffs start, the Big Eight. It's
okay,
a Big 8U tournament they do in the area. Before the playoffs start. So it's a double elimination bracket. We lost the first game, so we're in the second bracket. So we can't
okay.
lose again, or we done, right?
Right.
So the first game we lost, we play again. We play the same team again today. They beat us 29-12.
Oh,
We got out rebounded. Now they got some bigger kids, but all they doing is feeding this one kid in the middle. What's the suggestion on stopping him? I'd rather have them shoot on the outside than give you shots in the paint.
you just gave your answer. That is the answer. The answer is you got a big man in the middle, big young man in the middle. So what do? You surround him. Look what the Lakers did to Jokic. They surround every move he made. There was always someone there. And a lot of times what will happen, I don't know so much about the youth right now anymore, but when that individual gets the ball and he's surrounded, what's going to happen? Very few things. He's going to move his arms this way, which is going to be able to call a foul. If I were you, I would suggest that you surround them. If you want them, your defense, because they're smaller, to be effective, I would surround that young man or girl for that matter, and just surround them. And then because usually people at that age really can't shoot the outside shot, so that would make them very uncomfortable. In that situation, Key, what I would do is I would surround that young man, whatever, and then just have them surround him and make him. Because what happens when you're under all that pressure, some people, and being at that age, they don't know how to handle it. Now, how much bigger are they?
Well, my guards are my guards are fast. I ain't worrying about my guards. My guards, they can hopefully intercept the entry pass and take off with it. Another problem that we had last time was we let them set on off or let them set on defense instead of we gotta automatically know what we're doing on offense. As soon as we get the ball, we gotta
Okay,
know what we're doing. If we're gonna set a
okay.
screen, we gotta set it quick and be out. So that was our issue last time. We waited too long to get something going on offense.
Now, number two,
Um,
go ahead, Key. Go ahead.
so I mean they got three kids that's really bigger, but it's just the main one they feed in the middle.
Okay, part two. You said because I watched the highlights you sent and you put on post. You got real quick guards. Here's another thing what you can do: pressure the point guard or whoever's handling the ball. Make that entry pass more difficult. Make them throw it away. You know what I'm saying? You front the big man, you put someone behind him and front him, and you make that entry pass that much more difficult.
So
That's
I should
how
go
you
with the
do
3-2.
it. Absolutely. But make whoever's the one that the other team, whoever the point guard or the one that's putting the ball inside to the big man, make it more difficult for him. That's the key. Because what's going to happen? He's going to end up making more turnovers. And then your guards are so quick, they can be able to catch up and maybe get some entrance passes and stop the ball from coming to the paint. And then you got someone in front of that big man and behind. And I think that would be a little bit more effective. But first of all, I'm very shocked that you guys got beat by that much because you've been blowing teams out.
Yeah, but this team we've never seen before, so I was
Okay.
completely blind, so I didn't know how they played. But when I
Right.
seen them warming up, I'm like, oh yeah, they shoot us.
Now, do you watch what kind of offense they run?
If I can remember, I mean, they spread the floor around. They're like I said, they shooters. So, but they fed in the middle because that's what was working for them.
Right. So what you got to do is you got to take that away. And how you do that, you make the entrance pass that much more difficult. And you front the big guy and put him behind him. That's how that would. I think that would help out tremendously. But again, you can't teach height, so you got to be a little bit more aggressive. And I think that would help you guys a lot. But again, I'll be watching because you're going to put out the films of the game on post, so I'll be able to check it out and see what we can do.
Yeah, but my I ain't gonna have no assistants with me tonight. They all working today, so it's just gonna
Uh
be me
oh,
on the bench tonight.
oh.
Yep.
I wish I was there to
So
help you out, boss.
I don't yell a lot, but when the kids do, when I do, the kids know. No.
There you
So
go.
like
There you go.
the last game on Wednesday, we was up 14-1. We won 16-10.
Ooh, okay.
So, but called that last time out. I said, "Y'all see this? What's wrong?" I said, "I don't like it. Fix it." They fixed it.
There you go.
So,
There you go.
but since that loss, they've been when I say they've been playing tremendous defense. I mean, they allowed my one little guy. He's loud on defense. I got ball. I got ball. I got ball. Like
Oh, that's awesome.
so, we trying to get the whole team to do that on defense and get in their head. So we'll see. We'll see what today brings. So my
And
anxiety's
another
been
thing
on
too,
99 million today.
I hear you. And another thing you can do too, Key, have your players all go for the rebound. Have them all come on for the rebound. And then I know they're too young because I would go into another level. But have them all come and all get
I
together.
told them. I
And
said that as soon as we see one of our guys in green go up for a shot, everybody crash. I don't care who it is. Everybody should be at that rim with a body on somebody getting that ball. Don't stand
exactly.
there and watch with your hands up because it's not gonna come to you. Y'all gotta
There
go
you
get it.
go. There you go. There you go. I wish I was there to help you out. I wish I was there. You know what I mean?
But after the tournament, then we got the playoffs. This is a bigger picture, which that's my focus on because
Oh,
I'm
okay.
trying to go back to back.
Okay.
So I'm trying to be 2 time. So we'll see. We'll see. But I just
Well,
had
thank
to
you for coming on,
ask because
boss.
I've been asking all of my basketball people, and pretty much I've all gotten the same answer. So
Thank you for jumping in. I appreciate that. You know that. And thank you, Keith, for everything you do for me as well.
you already know.
Yes, we do. Again, folks, I only got about a few minutes left. Again, I want to thank Key Williams because without her, I couldn't do a damn thing. And she's great and allow me to have the platform that I have. But again, as I said before, we're going to have my man Joseph Sparrow coming on. We also have Danny Santana coming on as well. And then we have one of my former co-hosts, Mike Semio, who has written a book, a memoir of his basketball days, and that's going to be. And folks, you got to tune in to see him. He is unbelievable. He is so knowledgeable, and again, he's kind of like me as far as the historical perspective on the game. And we worked side by side, so that's going to be an interesting show as well. And also, Seth Greenberg. I'm sure you guys have watched him on NCAA basketball on nationally syndicated shows as well. We're looking forward to having him come on as well. We're just trying to get together the times and days because he's so busy with his schedule. But that's going to be a blessing and a joy to have him come on as well. And hopefully we might. I don't want to put it out there yet, but we might have a former NBA great coming on as well. But as you know, it's kind of hard getting these former NBA players because they belong to the union and you got to deal with the agents and you got to deal with the NBA and all that things. But we're going to work on it. But again, I want to thank you for coming on, watching this show. I want to thank my guest, Wilson Pilati. He's just a great individual, very humble. And, those type of people I would like to have on the show. I mean, what he's done, 8 years of play overseas is something to be proud of. And again, I'm so proud of what he's accomplished. And you can see he's very humble and, he wants to give back to the community and doing the things he does. So again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Sports Wave Network and my show, Sports Corner with Conn Man. Thank you for tuning in. Stay safe. God bless. Until next week, God bless.